Jim had seen me in a movie called The Fan, which was, my agent sent me the script and I read it and I was like, seems kind of, this just shows you, there are a lot of people around that will say, I read The Terminator, I read it. If you think of that movie in anybody else's hands, like a thing from the future comes back to kill a guy who comes from the future to want a girl that works at Bob's Big Boy, it just didn't, it didn't jump off the page to me as like, oh my God.
Right, you're like, what is this?
No, and nobody thought that movie. So, but I read it and I thought, well, I can play this character who is sort of this lean, mean, fighting machine kind of guy, and that had a little love story in it. And I thought I could play this character and I'm not going to get hurt. I know I can do this. Mm-hmm. And if the rest of it is like really ridiculously stupid, which it would have been if Jim Cameron wasn't directing it,
right.
You'd have come out all right.
Yeah.
No matter what.
The movie was but Michael Biehn was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's kind of what I felt. And Arnold was set. I wanted to work at that time with Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, De Niro. I mean, those are the people that I wanted to work with, and they're like. My friends are like, I just got a movie, yeah, who's in it? Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they'd be like,
Did you have to audition for that?
Yeah, I did. Uh-huh. Yeah, I auditioned, and I think probably the best moment that ever happened for me as far as my career goes, and I think I was working a lot anyway, but as far as it changing my direction was that I did a very good audition for Jim. So he cast me in that, and then 2 years later he cast me in Aliens, and then 2 years later he cast me in The Abyss. And so, then I started getting offered stuff like Tombstone and The Rock. And
well, you became part of the Jim Cameron company.
Well,
like, you remember John Ford had a company of actors that he worked with over and over? It's kind of like that.
I went down and spent a lot of time with Jim Cameron, and you don't have to spend a lot of time around Jim without you realizing instantly like there's something special about him. I've never known anybody in my life that works harder than him. He just is a machine and just works and works and works. And he's so talented and an artist and so passionate. And so I went down and I watched him with Stan Winston. Mm-hmm. Stan Winston, who went on to win many Academy Awards and ended up working with Spielberg a lot. He did Aliens. But I went down and I watched them talk about how they were going to shoot the Terminator. Mm-hmm. And I would see like the miniatures and I would see like the face that would move around. And once I was around that situation, I thought, oh wow, I wanted to make Jim happy. That was my only goal. Was like I got to take this not only seriously, but this guy's got a vision. He's passionate about it. He cares about it. I want to make him happy. So I did everything I could.
It raises your game too, right? When you're around
exactly.
When you're around excellence, you strive for excellence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not that not too many of us that are blessed to work in the creative arts. We always give it. Most of the time, we give it all we got. But when there's someone that's raising the bar, you really want to.
Well, it's like if you're playing a friendly game of tennis and the guy you're playing is better than you, you play better.
I agree. Sports is exactly the same way. I think there's a lot of, when I think of sports, which I grew up in a sporting family, but sports and a crew are a lot the same. It's a group of people that all want a certain outcome, kind of this good outcome. Everybody's got a different position that they play, but every position is important.
Yep.
You learn to win, you learn to lose, you learn that there's always somebody better than you.
Filmmaking is a team sport, and I think our business is as competitive as professional sports.
There's something also I think about getting ready to shoot a shot. You ready? Actors ready? Okay. Sound good? Ready? Okay. we used to have film. We used to shoot on something called film.
We all did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Roll out.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. We used to shoot on film. It was important not to be the one element of a shot that there was a problem with, because you've got sound, you got the guy pulling focus, you've got
hairs in the gate,
wardrobe, you've got you know.
You don't want to be the guy that messed up the shot.
That messes up the shot.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot my, like that. That just like that would, So I find a lot of similarities, and I have always enjoyed the camaraderie of a group of people that show up on a corner in downtown LA and like take over that corner, and you're there all night long, and then it's like a little community, and there's
the circus comes to town.
And then the circus leaves.
And then the circus leaves.
A big vacuum, where it was.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. And then Terminator, of course, was a phenomenon. And you'd said you'd already been working all the time.
Here's the thing about the Terminator the Terminator, when it came out, was not in the top 25 movies box office. No.
Really?
No.
Wow.
No. Because it was made for $6 million, and it made 40, so it did well, but Orion probably could have put it in more theaters, but that movie, I believe, really came alive when because of DVDs. Everybody had their DVDs, but not that many people saw it in the theaters. And it wasn't like, my God, there's like this big hit. It was like, there's no like Academy Award. There was like nothing. It was like a small movie that seemed to do very well. And people still didn't take Arnold seriously. And there were a lot of people back then that thought, I'm not going to go see Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie. I mean, that just was the fact.
Well, for sure. It wasn't, I mean, as an audience member at the time, because in 1984, I was in college, and me and my buddies, we went to see that the first weekend, and the theater was packed. So, like, my perception is completely different. And also, like, looking at it as a businessman, if you make something for 6 and it does 40, it's a pretty big hit. Yeah. But, like, we ran to see it, and I know all my buddies that are here, we all ran to see it, and we were like, this movie's badass.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it didn't stay in theaters very long. But I'm not. I mean, it's
evergreen. I mean, it's like you said, DVD, and now it's on streaming. It's just a movie that everyone who's a fan is going to watch it every couple of years.
Yeah, and it did turn into what it turned into. It just didn't come out of the gate. Like Ghostbusters was the number 1 movie that year. Karate Kid came out that year. Those movies were like making loads and like $200 million.
Right. Oh yeah.
So, and there were a number of movies, and I think Terminator came in 23rd.
Yeah, and Terminator was like an indie.
Yeah, and I thought, listen, I was pleased, very, very pleased about it, and I had this agent, Ed LaMotta, who I mentioned earlier, and Ed loved the movie, and Ed wanted to help Jim and Gail Hurd, who was eventually his wife and his producing partner for the first 3 big movies, and so he put together what they call the industry screening. Because he wanted agents, he wanted...
see what's up.
He wanted everybody, any studio people, to see this movie. And I went to that screening, and, when that movie starts, and it's in the future, and the, like, tanks or whatever are kind of rolling over heads, skulls, and stuff like that, people were laughing. And people were laughing during the... for the wrong reasons, thinking,
right.
Look at this stupid shit. Look
Arnold
at,
and,